I'm beatboxing, Jenny.
Welcome to another episode of Our Parents' Basement. How y'all doing tonight? It's Thursday night. We're back on Thursday nights. That's awesome. Yeah, welcome. It's going to be another great show. We got some fancy fun stuff for you this evening. I hit the play button without telling Charles, so maybe you got to see him beatbox. It was sweet. So, speaking of my compadre this evening, my one and only partner this evening is Charles. How you doing, Charles?
Doing all right. Doing okay. Back on Thursdays because pre-calculus is being a pain in the ass in the summer class, so I dropped that son of a bitch.
I would have dropped it like a bad habit. You know, you got to keep the GPA up, man. You just you got to do that. So, yeah. Anyways, back to the show, the Our Parents' Basement. Philip's not with us tonight. He is having some computer issues that happen right when the show starts, as it often does. So, what is Our Parents' Basement without some technical difficulties, without a few snafus, if you will? So,
it's not Our Parents' Basement without.
It wouldn't be Our Parents' Basement without some snafus. So, anyways, Charles, I want to apologize to you for hitting the button. That was kind of kind of a dick move, but
I don't care, dude.
I know. It was all in good fun, and I wanted to hear the way that you work the beatbox. So tonight, I guess we'll just jump right into it with both feet. We're gonna talk about this, maybe not pirating terms, maybe not. Well, it's whaling terms from the sea, terms from Thar She Blows.
There you go.
Songs from the whaling people.
Which is funny. Yeah. I don't know. Turf made this. I got this album yesterday. Thar She Blows, Whaling Ballads and Songs. So.
Well, all of us, we're all the video game collectors and collectors of records and collectors of things that collect dust. Collectors of things that collect dust. That's that's pretty accurate. So we've all been hunting, been looking for stuff for a while. I mean, I've been collecting since about 2002, the video games and whatnot. Charles, you've been collecting for a while too, so.
Yeah, I don't remember what year. It's just...
Well, I was in college, and that's when I went with a buddy to a flea market, and he got like a box of games. I'm like, dude, I want a box of games. So we came back. I mean, we had this Nintendo. It was like $20, and we got like 30 games in a Nintendo. It was amazing. So I was like, man, then we were sitting around talking, like, you know what? I'm going to get them all. I want to get all these games. So that's how my collecting started. Now, over the course of many generations, over the course of this great country, there's been games that we couldn't find. Something you wanted, you knew it was out there. And now anybody can say, like, there's these holy grail games. These like the Nintendo World Championships. That's going to be a holy grail for video game collectors. Or stadium events is a holy grail. Now, when I'm talking about white whales, I'm talking about things that are actually obtainable, but they seem to slip through your fingers. You just can't quite catch them. Kind of the Moby Dicks of the world. So there's we're going to talk about these white whales tonight. These things that we think we can find, we think we can get, but they're just not there. It's not happening. So, Charles, have you had any of these things that you they were right there, just seemed like you couldn't grasp them?
Lately here in Chicago, it's been a lot of NES games for some odd reason. All my game shops, they almost have nothing. They'll have like 50 copies of Super Mario Duck Hunt and everything else, and nothing else for some reason here.
Well, that's kind of the way it is around here too. Except it's like John Elway's quarterback.
Yeah.
There's
anticipation.
Let's see, Captain Skyhawk.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I mean, I still look for NES games because I just think I'm going to find something I don't have, or not that I don't have, but something that maybe a label upgrade, maybe, I don't know, a diamond in the rough, something I can trade later. So I still look, and I don't know, man. There's nothing. But I'm kind of going back to the past, kind of these things that were normally obtainable, and you can get them at any time on eBay. You could pay the full price and go ahead and get them. So that's yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, like one of the ones that I had in the past that I looked for the better part of a decade was Snow Brothers. It's now it's way more expensive. It was about $80 at the time, and I'm like, I can find it for 50 or less, or I can. It was at early in the 2000s, before 2012, it was still $20 game. It was obtainable. I really wanted Snow Brothers, wanted to add to my collection. It took literally till probably about 2013 for me to find it. I was actively searching for it. It was one of the games that I just really wanted, and I just couldn't find it.
Yeah, I think one game I'm still looking for, trying to find good prices, like Mega Man for the Game Gear. And that is not a cheap game.
No, it's not a cheap game, but it is obtainable. It's something. Yeah. The problem with like Game Gear games is you're probably not going to find many of them out in the wild. Out just looking, you may or may not run into them. So, yeah. I don't know. That's going to be kind of tough, man. Especially this day and age when people buy up anything that they see. Years ago, people would say like, "Hey, what kind of game is that?" And then they leave it laying. Now, in 2017, people are like, "Oh, that's a Game Gear game that came out." They know. Not only are there more people in the hobby, people are more knowledgeable, and just the internet's made us all more aware. Mm-hmm. So you pick up, or people, I'm guilty of it. If I see something, a swap meet or swap, I've never been to a swap meet, but it's like a flea market or something like that. I'll go ahead and grab it, just because. I do know what it is, and I'm like, hey, I'll add that to the collection. So there's a handful of things that I've found that I actively search for. There's a handful of things I still haven't got that I would like to have, like the Namco version of Miss Pac-Man. There's everybody's seen the Tengen version of Miss Pac-Man for the NES, right?
Yeah.
It's everywhere. Well, Namco they published one or released their own, because I guess Namco owns it, and it's not expensive. It was like a $25-$35 game for a long time. I don't know what it is now. But I just couldn't find it, and I stumbled across it, and then I bought it again because I found it cheap, probably 2 weeks after I bought it, and just on principle, I went ahead and bought it again, just because I've been looking for it. So, and then there's a couple of Super Nintendo games that I looked for Dracula X for a long time. Now, Dracula X it's not a cheap game, but it was something that I wanted to have, I wanted to add to the collection, and I found it in 2012 or so, 2013, 14, somewhere in there. I picked it up in a package deal off of Craigslist. So, Charles, you got anything else, or I'm just doing all the talking?
Something I just got. This is an eBay buy. It's the Sega Game Gear Magic Knight Ray Earth edition.
That's awesome.
Which is, I haven't gotten yet. It's coming from Japan. So it's,
that was a Japanese release, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's okay.
And it's coming with the actual red version of the cartridge of the game, which is another not too easy to find. And I haven't get it at an auction. And not a buy it now, which buy it now, they're going for about $200, $250. This is like under $100 for it. So,
man, you can't. The deals are still there to be had, I guess.
But it's been a month, and it's somewhere between Japan and here, which is
it's on a boat.
Yeah, it's registered mail. Usually, it takes. I've had registered mail stuff from Japan take a week. The one thing I got a big box of my Dreamcast from Japan that I had that go see, so that took like 3 months. So,
well, it was a big box.
Yeah, so that was it was $60 via surface transport, but if I did like anything else, it would have been like $100. So,
well, I'm trying to think of some of the other things that are out there that once again they seem obtainable. Things that like for a long time, stadium events seemed obtainable to me. I was going to find it. I was dead set on finding it in a thrift store or something like that, but it just didn't ever happen. It's probably not going to happen now. There's things that like I'm actively still looking for, and I've actively been looking for a long time. Like the Death and Return of Superman for the Super Nintendo. It's not a crazy expensive game. It's probably $25-$30. It may be more than that now. Maybe It may be up 40 or 50 because Super Nintendo games have gone through the roof. But, I bought one at one time, and it turned out I got home and put it in. It was Super Punch Out. Somebody had taken the board out and put a Super Punch Out board in the Death and Return of Superman. So I don't understand why they did that. But anyways, it happened, came on, and I was like, huh, this is really odd. But
yeah, I remember you telling me that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it's yeah. I've been looking for Final Fight Guy. There was I don't know if it was actually like a Blockbuster exclusive, but it was pretty rare. It's Final Fight with the 3 characters and 2-player co-op on it. It has Cody, Guy, and Hagar. Excuse me. But I mean, there's things like that. They just seem to kind of slip through your fingers, or so to speak.
Or you know what? For that one, just go for the Japanese release.
Well, I don't. A lot of people say stuff like that. They're like, "Well, why don't you just get the Japanese? Everything's cheaper." Yeah, but I like my North American stuff. I don't know. I've got a bunch of Famicom games, or I say a bunch. I've got about 10 Famicom games but they're all stuff that wasn't released here. I mean, I would like to have like maybe more the Famicom disc game that's Mario 2. I can't even think of what it is.
Doki Doki Panic.
Doki Doki Panic. There we go. I'd like to have that. And I'd like to have some of the Japanese games that have like cooler looking labels, just because.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I like my North American stuff. So I'll stick with that. People, that's another thing. I'm just gonna ramble now, so you just stop me and jump in whenever you want to. There's people. The Super Nintendo Classic was announced. People are like, "Hey, why try to get this overpriced emulation box? Just build a Raspberry Pi." Yeah, I could do that, and I want to do that, and I'm probably gonna do that. I have one right there. There's a Raspberry Pi right over there. But I want the actual release. Is that weird? Is that weird of me?
No.
I want the actual licensed release of this is the collector's thing. It's part of the collecting in me. It's more than just having it to play.
Have the real tangible
game.
So you could sell it and put the kid through college on it.
Yeah, not planning on any of that. If you happen to stumble across this and you think that video games are an investment, sell everything you have now, get as much of your money back as you can, and don't, because it's coming, man. It's going to be like the way of the baseball cards and the way of there'll be a handful of things that are worth money, but Contra is not going to be a $50 game. In a few years, it'll go back down to being a $20 game when everybody kind of loses interest.
Darkwing Duck will go down from $50.
Absolutely. I mean, stuff like stadium events and Nintendo World Championships and Flintstones 2 and Samson, things like that will probably still stay high. But the things that in 2005 that you found in thrift stores and stuff like that everywhere, it'll go back down to a reasonable price. It's coming.
It's crazy. I was looking at my some of these prices, some of these games, like Kadash or TurboGrafx 16. I bought it, complete, $15. Now it's going for about $100.
Man, I'm telling you, some of the stuff is like I bought most of my NES games at the time. I mean, they're all cheap. I didn't spend market value on much of anything. And okay, I'll tell you what, I spent $730 for Little Samson. I'll just go ahead and throw that out there. It's been a few years ago. I don't like it. I shouldn't have told you how much I spent on it, but hey, we're live. Ta-da. I spent a lot on it. That's just been 2 years ago, and that game is already it's over $1,000. That's crazy to me that it's gone up that much in or it's like $1,200. It's something stupid. Lord, I mean, like my Turtles Tournament Fighter, I paid $5 for, and it's it's $100 whatever dollar game. This stuff's out of control, man. I like it. More people are into it, but it's there's some kind of phenomenon in there. People say, well, it's supply and demand, kinda, but I think a lot of people holding on to this stuff don't really want it. They're not there for the they're not really demand. They're just holding on to it and trying to get the top dollar, which business is business. You know, you make money at it. That's fine. But I don't know, man. I don't. It's just, you know, I don't want to say stupid resellers. I've resold stuff too, so I can't really point fingers. But it's, I don't know, man. It's been a long road. It's been a long I don't know, a long time, and things have changed, and it's just not the same as it was. It's still fun. These old games are fun, and I think when you get a new game, you buy a box full of games, one game in there may not doesn't mean much to you, or you may never even play it. Now people have more curated collections. If they have to spend real money on something, like, well, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I like this and not buy everything I see. So
Yeah. But
not everybody ends up with Power Golf with Greg Norman or Dance Aerobics. They end up with more Friday the 13th and Batmans. I'm just looking at stuff I have down here that I can see.
Is Power Golf any good?
No, it's not. I mean, 90% of or probably at least 75% of the NES library is trash. So I love the NES. I love collecting for it. It's fun. It's interesting. It's just most of it is trash. So.
Oh, Dance Aerobics is one of the few other Power Pad games.
Yeah, it is. Dance Aerobics.
Do you play that one regularly?
Well, I usually put on my leg warmers and my headband, and then I do a little dance aerobics to it. It's, you know, I'm not gonna lie to you. There's an idea there that maybe it didn't work out in practice, but it was kind of Dance Dance Revolution before Dance Dance Revolution. It's kind of the same thing, man. It's just a very simplified version of it. And there's ideas there. There's ideas in a lot of the stuff that can be that people used and made good stuff out of.
Yeah. I'm trying to see what other games they were, talk about the Power Pad. It didn't have too many games that were really.
It was like Street Cop, Super Team Games, World Class Track Meet, Stadium Events, Short Order Explode.
Yeah, Street Cop, Super Team Games.
Yeah, Super Team Games.
Yeah, these are
just a handful of them.
Yeah, there's like 11 worldwide, just about more in Japan.
Yeah, they got a few more, which is kind of odd because they don't have as much room as we do. So it's kind of odd that they got more jumping around games than we did.
Yeah. What?
I just spilled water down the front of me. So if anybody's watching live, you got to see. I've got a drinking problem.
A spittle.
Got a little drinking problem. I can't seem to hit my mouth. So yeah.
But yeah, it's trying to feel what. I haven't been doing much searching for games lately. So, I've been in schools, I haven't had money for it, but
I understand. I hadn't. I mean, I don't go out looking like I used to because it's so discouraging. You get to where you go out, you look, and you come back empty-handed so many times, or you get on Reddit, or you get on even sites like VG Collect, where people catalog and keep track of all their collecting items. Well, you get on the forums and people are like ecstatic with oh, I got this deal today. Bro, that's not, I'm spoiled. I was spoiled back in the day. So I'm like, that's not that much of a deal, homie. But, people are excited about it. They're pumped that they, paid $100 for a Sega Master System. So.
Yeah. It's like, what was it? I'm looking at the price of like the Atari 5200's party has gone up a lot lately. For some odd reason. Well,
and this has turned into, where we were talking about, things we couldn't find, into just collecting in general, and me speculating on why I think things are more expensive. But, it started off, anybody that was collecting Atari. There was Atari collectors, that's what they wanted. Then there was NES collectors. Then the NES collectors kind of got bored. I don't think there's a bunch of them that got out of the hobby altogether, but then there's people like me that just kind of branched out. And then you get to looking for Super Nintendo games, and you think, well, man, Super Nintendo is really expensive. Oh, let's move on. Let's try Nintendo 64. Well, it starts going up. Like, well, let's try Genesis. And you end up people going everywhere, and then they go, they got into weird stuff like the TurboGrafx 16, and it got really high. And Neo Geo, of course, that's always been high, but
Neo Geo's never been cheap.
yeah. And then, but then they, like, oh, well, let's try like nobody's doing Atari. Let's start doing like 5,200 games or 7,800 games. It's just kind of a phenomenon, I think, of people. Maybe phenomenon is not the right word, but just a case of people looking for something and they kind of want to branch out and try something else, and they get, and then until they hit a roadblock. Say we're going after 7,800 games. Like, well, I just don't find those, or they're getting expensive. Let's try 5,200 games. Maybe people will start buying 2,600 games again, but they're still, most of them aren't even playable.
Yeah. Well, it's, there's very few 2,600 games that are very expensive.
Well, there's, the titles that everybody can find. There's Asteroids and Pac-Man and E.T. and Yar's Revenge and things like that. And then you get into like the crazy expensive stuff. There's a big jump. There's not a whole lot of $10 or $15 Atari games. You go from $2 or 50 cents or $1 or whatever to $500 immediately. There's a huge gap when it comes to collecting those. And
those are really rare.
Yeah.
It's like Coke Wars, which is Space Invaders, but it's
is it Coke or Pepsi?
Or Pepsi Wars. It's like you're either a Coke bottle shooting at Pepsi.
So, of course, there was so much weird promotional stuff for the 2,600. Like that, was it Chase the Wagon? That was a mail-in by Purina.
Purina Ralston, yeah.
Yeah, so, it was just crazy random stuff that had 2,600 games. Or like in Southern California especially, you'd have a guy that was just programming them in his garage, and your local computer shop may have the only versions of this game. So do they qualify as legit releases, or you get into all that crazy collecting jargon, or not jargon but standards, I guess.
Yeah, it's us collectors, we're weird sometimes.
Oh yeah, we are very weird. And this is still it's a very niche hobby, and it's a very still pretty young. So I don't think we've decided all the rules yet. They started that whatever group started grading games. You send it to them, they'd slab it and give you a grade, and a lot of people kick back against that, like, hey, why are you the expert on this? Why are you the authority? So yeah, I don't know. It was still a young hobby, and there's still a lot of bugs to be ironed out. But in time, you're going to see people that are very serious about it and probably overly serious about it, and then you'll have it'll be like toy collecting. There'll be a lot of people like me that just like to, I'll pick up a toy if I see it cheap and I think it's kind of cool, and I'll put it on the shelf. I'll put it up there with my Bucky O'Hare or my Jabba the Hutt. It's just something I found cheap and I stuck up there. And then you'll have people that are like, oh, it's graded on the card and it's never been touched and the hole's never been punched.
Like me, you got those super mega collectors. You got people like, yeah, it's on the shelf, and they play with it every now and then.
I won't fault somebody for that. If you want to play with Wingbat or Wingnut and Screw Loose, you go right ahead, buddy. You give it a go.
Say play with Boulder Hill every now and then.
You got to. You got to. Keep it worked out. But we kind of got off topic, so
we never get off topic.
Yeah, we do. We do. Another thing that I've been looking for a long time, and I had one bought, and then I backed out, and then I've had another one bought, and the dude backed out, was a gold Nintendo 64. I have all the colors of the Nintendo 64 except for the gold one. It was a Toys R Us exclusive, and Daddy just couldn't. It was $80 one time, and then I was like, I'm like, nah, I think he backed out on that one, and then I backed out of the $100 one, and then I had a deal worked out, and then it just fell through somehow. And this is just over Craigslist, and things like that happen. But that's just something I've never got my hands on. I should have bought it. There's always one at Retropalooza when we go, so I should buy one there, but I just didn't.
And they're not that badly priced.
I think they're like 120 now. They're not ridiculous, and I need to get it just to have it, but I just have it.
$60.99 for one.
There's no way that's.
This
Does it have a controller with it?
This is a Japanese import one.
Oh, I don't want a Japanese. I want a NTSC, son.
No, it is still NTSC. It's NTSCJ.
Well, no, I want North American NTSC America.
But it is a Toys R Us limited gold.
That's the one.
It's a Japanese version, yeah.
But something else I've been looking for, and it's not an expensive game. I just haven't found it cheap. I'm weird about paying full price for stuff. It's Hydro Thunder for the NES, or excuse me, this Nintendo 64. I just can't do it. Don't know why. Just haven't been able to. I've been looking for it for years and just haven't found one cheap.
Yeah, but yeah, paying full price is a pain sometimes.
It is.
Sometimes you have to do it. But,
Well, I mean, y'all have been with me. You know how cheap I am. Like last year, one of the ones that I put down on this list of games that I've been looking for was Mutant League Hockey. We found one at Retropalooza. It didn't have the manual, and the dude wanted, like, I want to say it was like $60. I was like, man, come on, no manual. Would you do 40? And they just wouldn't budge. So I should have bought it for 60 because that's still a bargain. Because if you put the manual with it, it's like $100 game. So I think it may not be that high, but it's not cheap. I just can't seem to track one down, and it's weird. It's just kind of a phenomenon, something that you can't. It's obtainable. I could get on eBay and buy one right now, but I just can't find one that in the wild, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of the games I try to find that are not easy to find, like Panzer Dragoon Mini for the Game Gear, which is a Japan only release.
Well, the weird stuff that you get into is it's going to be Japanese only, and you're just going to have to just buy it off eBay. I want that, was it YY World? Is that what it's called? That Konami game. It was a Famicom game that you played as in different worlds. I don't know. It's like if you played in the different Konami games, like you might go through Castlevania or you might go through, I don't know. I can't remember the other ones, but I want it. There's a 1 and 2 of it, and I really want it. And if I do, I'm just gonna have to buy it off eBay because I'm not gonna find it. I'll find it at a convention or something like that. I'll look for it this year at Retropalooza. I may buy it. So who knows?
Yeah,
that's the next convention I'm planning on going to. It's the only one within driving distance.
Yeah, that one's still up in the air for me. I gotta see how my school is going in the fall.
Well, I hope you can make it. If you can't, that's okay.
I hope I can too, but
oh man, there's always next year. We can you just come on down if you can. If you're not, that's fine too. So if anybody's listening, we do have or for all you listening, we do have a table. We'll have a booth at Retropalooza, or Retropalooza 5. Our parents' basement will be there with a booth. Hopefully getting to talk to a few people if I can get my mobile podcasting rig set up. We may be trying to grab a few interviews and maybe just get a few sit downs with people. So I think that'll be fun. That'll be exciting anyhow.
It will be. If I can make it.
Yeah, well, Charles, if you can't make it, you can't make it, man. You got school going on, you got life going on, so
pre-calc again in the fall, basic chem, Japanese 101, English 102.
Well, at least you got to English 102 before you took Japanese 101. That's important.
Yes.
It's always nice to pick a second language up after you get the first one down.
Yes. English, no good. I do. Yes.
Are you doing that and keeping a full-time job too?
Yeah.
Jeez,
crazy.
Dude.
I need the money.
Well,
I need the education.
I need the money to get the education to get more money. So
yes, to get out of being in 21 years of retail.
I understand, man. That's if nothing else, a retail job dealing with the public will definitely motivate you to go back to school.
I'm like, I want to punch some of these customers sometimes.
What kind of tripod should I be? What I buy? Oh,
yours,
the professional one.
You're in such a specialized field, I guess, of retail. You don't have just a whole bunch of jackholes just coming in there to shop, do you? People are looking for a camera. They're looking to buy something if they come in there, right?
Most of the time. You know, some people are like all amazed it's an old camera store, you know.
Right.
We've been in that space since 1929, and
That's-
nothing has
that's
changed.
awesome.
We may have painted once or twice, and changed a few light bulbs, but nothing has changed.
Well, so I mean, at least you have that. You're not working like in the mall where people just come by to look.
No, people still
Like they
come
just happen to
down.
be walking past. So if somebody, you know, that bell rings on the door, your little jingle bell, or the boom boom goes off. Somebody's probably looking to buy a camera.
Yeah.
So at least they have that much knowledge going on. They're not just there to window shop.
Oh yeah, and there you get the people who window shop. They come in there all they're like, their heads are up, their neck, they're like their mouths are like they're like all shocked at everything.
Well, dude, I imagine that would be pretty intimidating. Of course, I mean, I ask you every now and then because I get a bug wanting a camera. I'm like, hey, what about the Canon? Blah blah blah. Oh, it's a good basic camera. You know, you get that all day, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It's very daunting, very intimidating to try to jump off into something like that and buy it, because I can like this more megapixels than this, but then you get into like other things that you know, yeah, stuff I don't know about.
Megapixels don't matter anymore. That's what I say. It doesn't matter that war is done.
So, at what point did like digital cameras catch up with film?
It's not fully there yet. It still doesn't have the same depth of film. You know,
Really?
film. There's a color depth, color fidelity, and digital just doesn't really get, you know, those little slight nuances that you can get with film.
Right.
It's like if you look at a Kodachrome slide. I know if you have any old family Kodachrome slides that, you know, from 40s, 50s, you look at the colors in those Kodachrome slides. Digital can't even touch that. So it's this whole different thing. You know, digital is getting cheaper, it's faster, it's easy to deal with, but film is still much, I think, sharper, better. It's got a better look and feel to it.
But I mean, even professionals. I mean, do you have to be anything outside of like artsy people? Does anybody still use film?
Some people still do use film. Some of these commercial houses, they're starting to go back doing some stuff in film. They'll shoot like something of a 4x5 transparency, you know, 4x5 inch, you know, negative, you know, which the sharpness and clarity and you know, contrast and color depth is a lot more intense than what you could get with film. And plus, you've got a 4x5 inch negative, and I don't think they really don't have affordable backs that could produce a good, you know, 4x5 digital image.
All right. I mean, that's a whole nother world. I don't even know how we got into that, but somehow we slipped and fell, and we got talking about something you know way more about than 99% of the people.
And I'm condensing it.
Oh, yeah, this was the idiot version. I know.
Heck of that.
There's so much more.
Take another like 4 hours, just like going about film.
This is Photo Talk with Mr. Nikon. We call him Charles. So yeah, that I know. Okay, I'm trying to backtrack and see how we got there. Yeah, retail will definitely make you go back to school. It'll make you want to get a job in a cubicle so you don't have to deal with people ever again.
Yeah, get a bachelor's in chemistry, work in a lab. Just me and my hazardous materials.
Just me and some test tubes making work.
I'm gonna make babies with chemicals.
Well, you'll be a rich man if you pull that off. Look at what I have created. It is life.
It's alive.
I don't know how that happened.
But yeah, I don't know, it's 21 years to be done. I'm just about done.
Well, man, I mean, if you don't enjoy it, you gotta enjoy life, I guess. You can't just dread going to work every day or you'll hate yourself.
I enjoy it most of the time I do. I'm just sometimes it's really, dude, really. These people, I'm like,
I tell you what, the whole time I was in college, I waited tables. Well, I'll take that back. I worked at a car wash. I waited tables, and then I worked at an auto parts store for Advanced Auto Parts and Battery. I don't care. I don't work for them anymore. I can name their name. So I worked there the whole time I was in college. So I got dealing with people all the time. Waiting tables that makes you appreciate a job where you don't have to look at people. It was everybody should do that one time. They'll be nicer to everybody else. When you're at work, you'll hate everybody, but when you like go out and eat, you'll be so much nicer to the server. It just because you understand. It's like, dude, I got it.
Like, I know, man. I know your pain. I've been there. But yeah, it's, one thing of you working retail for so long, you know how the adage people say, "Oh, the customer's always right." Bullshit.
The customer's a moron.
The customer is sometimes they're right, but a lot of the time they're wrong. I had just one customer's, oh my god, they dropped their pictures off black and white film, and they're complaining that we printed them in black and white, and they wanted to print them in color. Like, it's Tri-X black and white film. You can't print it in color. It is chemically impossible to do that. Unless you want to pay someone $5,000 to hand color a full roll of 36 exposure film. That's the only way you could do that.
Yeah, it's I'll tell you one of my retail stories. I worked at Advanced Auto Parts, and we had a policy of if we price match anybody and usually beat them by about 10%. So that's cool. So somebody came in they were wanting a belt. I think it was a belt, maybe a hose. It was something like that, something hanging up. Anyways, it was me and another gentleman there working, and the guy comes in and says, "Well, they have it over here at O'Reilly's for blah blah blah." I said, of course, there were two O'Reilly's in the town we were in. So I said, "Well, all right, I'll call one." He's like, "No, you got to call this one. This is the one that was at." So like it's the game people play. The dude's buddy works over there, and it's like, "Hey, yeah, we've got it for $12.95," and it's like $89.95. Anyways, I went back there to the back and like, "Oh, we don't have it, dude. Sorry," because you could smell the scheme that dude was up to. And then he calls the next day to the manager, complains that like, "Oh, he wouldn't help us, and he was staring at my girlfriend's tits." I'm like, really, dude? Really? Like, for one, your girlfriend is not attractive. That's point A. And point B, you're trying to scam me, so just go on. So I got the whole, man, just let them have it. It's easier on everybody if you just, let him have the belt and walk out the door than it is to, really, man? So
that's corporate.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. It was because the dude like called and like complained, and then he had to tell somebody else, tell the district manager or whatever. I'm like, man, I'm glad I'm not doing this forever. So
I'm in a small one-shop business. Some guy tried to scam us a few months ago. Come in, I want to get a Leica SL and this lens, which that's $10,000 camera. So right. Like, we don't have it. It's a special. Okay,
it's a $10,000 camera.
10 grand camera and lens. Yep, it's a Leica. So Leica is they're like
Cadillac,
the Maserati,
the Rolls Royce.
Yeah, they're higher. They're higher than Rolls Royce. They're German engineering.
It's hand assembled. This is the Ferrari Enzo.
Yep, but he goes at then I think we don't have that. What other Leica? We've got the Leica Q, which is half the price. Okay, I'll take that. Then he points at another. I'll take that one, that one, that one, that one. I'm like okay. Says rewrite up sells paint of his card. Back of the card's not signed where the signature strip is. I'm like, okay. Do you have an ID? He has an ID. I'll get the ID. It's got the hologram. Hologram looks okay. And I look at the printing on the ID, front and back is so blurry. I'm like, I don't think so.
Yeah, especially making a purchase that big.
I'm like, yeah, I don't. This ID doesn't look right. And he didn't get mad. He's like, okay, I'll be back. I'll bring my social security card. He didn't have a fight. He
make one of those.
He didn't have a fight. He didn't yell. He didn't do anything. He said, okay, you'll be back. He didn't come back. You know, if it was a legit sale, gotta be yelling, "This is my ID," and be flipping a shit.
Well,
But-
maybe he was a rational person. Who knows?
But yeah, in the whole sale was good, like, you know, the other stuff was could be over 10 grand. So,
Sure. That would make me nervous, man. Just making a 10
So-
grand worth of retail sale. That would make me a little nervous.
yeah, and working there so long, you know, knowing that whole scheme, how fast they're going, you know, they're listing off all these cameras. Like, this guy knows what he's getting. He knows how much this is gonna be a fraud. So,
Right. Yeah, you don't have many people that come in there and like, I want that camera and that camera, or I want the $10,000 camera. Oh, you don't have that? Give me the $5,000 camera.
yeah,
You know, if you're gonna spend 10 grand on something, you're gonna spend. I want that one.
you know what you want. You know you want that Leica SL.
Right. I mean,
there's-
you have to be a professional in some. I mean, you don't. That's not the point and shoot. Somebody's taking to Disneyland.
No,
That's
Yeah.
somebody's making their living with that camera.
no, not really. Not the Leica SL. It's
Really?
no. It's a high end camera. So.
Okay, what is somebody? Is that just like a hobby person would be out taking pictures of butterflies, or I mean,
It is a I would say it's a camera purist.
all right,
You know, that's what you're shooting like. It's you know, hold on one second.
okay,
Grab Jenny's. You know, this is like one of these guys, like an M3, which is a old rangefinder.
okay,
So they still make these digital. And you know those bodies are going for $5-6 grand without a lens. Get a lens, you just got to spend another $3,000-$4,000. So
Jesus.
these are for those camera purists who.
Is it now? I know this is just pure dumbass talking here. Can the Canon Rebel is that thing going to take that much better of a picture?
No, not really.
It's kind of just a pissing contest at some point, isn't it?
You know, it's not all the camera; it's the person behind the camera using the camera.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
That's why they have classes to teach you how to use your Canon Rebel, so you
Yeah.
can take those pretty pictures.
It's like, say, let's put you behind a NASCAR stock car or Indy car, and you drive around the track. Will you drive it?
Right.
Will you drive it good?
Yeah,
But
I mean
why-
that's an excellent way of putting that. You know,
And
we'll put you behind a stock car, which are all supposed to be pretty well the same. The driver is what makes the difference. So that's
Yeah.
a pretty good analogy.
Put Mario Andretti in a Yugo. He's gonna make that thing fly like it's never flown
Yeah.
before.
Well, I mean, if you put me and you and Jeff Gordon in a go-kart on a little track or just like the arcade go-kart
Yeah.
things and go around, he's going to smoke us just because he knows how to drive, even though we all have the same machine.
Now we put
So-
Jenny in there. She'll smoke Jeff Gordon.
She'd cut him off and give him the finger.
It's like, fuck you, Jeff Gordon.
And kind of the same thing goes. You could put me in a NASCAR, and I'm not going to be able to drive it to its full potential.
Yeah.
You know, these several $100,000 cars. I'm not going to. I can get a Lamborghini, something street legal, and I'm not going to get the 100% whatever out of it. I'd probably still drive it like the 07 Ford. It's that's just what I'm capable of doing.
Yeah. That's what I always say. People ask me, will this camera make me take good pictures? I'm like, no.
Well, and we've kind of wandered way off the topic here, but if somebody was coming in, they were going to buy, they're the $200 digital camera versus a $2,000 camera.
Mm-hmm.
Could they not take that $1,800 and put it towards a class of how to use their $200 camera and not get better pictures out of it?
It could. Yeah, they
So,
could.
It has to do with the person behind the camera, just like
Yeah.
anything else. The person using the equipment is
Yeah.
you can have the nicest equipment in the world if you don't know how to run it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't put it on the auto settings and expect to get the best pictures.
No, you get great pictures in auto. You know how to compose a photo. That's the main thing. Just composing a photo, getting your framing perfect. You know your rule of thirds.
I know nothing. I'm like Jon Snow. You know nothing.
Okay, you got your foreground, middle ground, background. You know, get that everything all lined up right.
Now that's for people that have an eye for stuff like that. I have an eye for paying people to do stuff like that. That's just how I get down.
You know, and I guess I do that subconsciously. I don't even think. You know, people.
Well, yeah. When you do stuff like that, Charles, my man, you're an artist. You're an artiste. You are a man with a skill.
I don't know.
Well, before I kiss your rear end anymore, I think it's about time we call it a night.
Yeah, we've got way off topic, but
yeah, we've got enough of these white whales that we never found. And I'm trying. The whole purpose of this is I'm wanting to have a. I'm wanting to create a new word instead of everybody calling things a holy grail, because it's not a holy grail. Snow Brothers is not a holy grail. That is a white whale. That is something that is within grasp, but it's just gone. So, anyways, if you enjoyed this podcast, there's usually 3 of us. This is usually a tri-podcast instead of a bi-podcast. So if you want to check out the tri-podcast, you can check us out right over there on the YouTubes. And that's if you're watching the video version. If you're listening to the audio-only version of us, there is 61 other episodes of Our Parents' Basement out there to download and enjoy. You could drive 61 hours and listen to the melodious tones of my voice. So
61 hours. Wow.
That's a lot of Our Parents' Basement, my friend.
That's almost a full Amtrak trip from Chicago to Emeryville on the California Zephyr.
That is very true. That's a long time. So if you want to download those, you can go to iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and anywhere else that you can download those silly little podcasts and take them with you on your mobile device. So, Charles, you got anything else to add to Our Parents' Basement this evening?
Thank you guys for listening to us. Tune in again next week.
Hey, we're back on Thursday nights, by the way.
Yes, back on Thursday nights because I dropped pre-calc. Which I would be in pre-calc. Well, I'd be coming home right now.
Sad things happen. It's for the greater good, sir. It's for the greater good. So y'all have a good evening. I appreciate